Yo, what is up, guys? What is up? I always forget to take the fucking loop off of the countdown. What is up, guys? What up, what up? Good afternoon. I appreciate you guys popping in. It cracks me up. As always, it was a last minute stream. I knew I was gonna do it sometime this afternoon, obviously, but I didn't know what time, so we're fitting it in now. So I appreciate you guys if you pop in live or if you're watching on replay. If you're watching on replay, please let me know your thoughts from NXT Battleground if you watched, or AEW Double or Nothing. We will be getting to both. So very pumped about that. I wanted to get the stream started and going before tonight. Make sure I'm muted, or unmuted. Before the Pacers and Knicks game tonight, y'all. Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait for that game tonight. Let me know if you guys are gonna be watching that. And if so, who you're going for. I am pulling for the Pacers, y'all. I am pulling for the Pacers. Let's go. I am super pumped about it. So yeah, obviously, I had some time off today. Took the day off, so this worked out perfectly. I'll be able to watch the game tonight, and I'll be able to chat with you guys prior and still get some stuff done around here. So it's a win-win. But like I said, I appreciate you guys for popping in. Some of the clips that I posted here on the channel from this weekend as well. It was a busy weekend, but super dope weekend. I get, like I said, on the not the battleground, but the Saturday night's main event stream, that I probably enjoyed the shows possibly a little bit more than you guys watching at home for, bias reasons. But yeah, I thought both shows, especially Battleground, I was pleasantly surprised by that. So obviously we'll be getting into that and some thoughts on that as well. Not going to go too in depth, just some overall thoughts. And then yeah, I'll pull up the chat and see what you guys are chit-chatting about. But like I said, I appreciate you guys for popping in. And if you're watching on replay, we are growing. I have to bring this up, and subscribers as well, which is pretty dope. I low-key in the background had a goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers for this year, and we're on our way, man. We're on our way, which is pretty dope. I appreciate you guys. It's just really cool to see. So thanks to you guys. I appreciate that. All thanks to you. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I checked out the little YouTube studio that has all the analytics, and I noticed that. I was like, wow, that's pretty dope. I was not expecting to be as far along as we are already. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. But good afternoon. Good afternoon. What up, Fernando, Maria? What up? What up? K Smith, Universal. What up, bro? I appreciate you guys for popping in. And K Smith says Knicks for the win. Okay, we'll see. We will see. Yo, like I said, I'm pulling for the Pacers. I don't know. I just had that feeling. I think it's gonna be Pacers and Thunder for the finals. We'll see. And if so, I I I want the Pacers to win overall. I would just love if they took the championship this year. But man, I just have a feeling that the Thunder may take it. So we'll see. If so, that'll be pretty dope too. That franchise has been through a lot. So either way, it's a win in my book, but low key pulling for the Pacers. Because I've become such a big fan of Tyrese Halliburton too this year. For wrestling related reasons too, to tie it into our wrestling stream. Obviously, we've seen Brunson and Halliburton on WWE, and according to Triple H, they wrote it, or it's almost like they could have written it. So, here we are. But like I said, we'll get into Battleground and Double or Nothing here. I will be starting with Battleground just to kind of get that out of the way. I have a feeling I may spend a little bit more time on that, but maybe not, because that AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view was something else, man. I don't want to say book ended, but I think, and not carried either, because it wasn't a bad show overall at all. It was very good, if not a great show. But my opinion, the Anarchy in the Arena and the main event, Hangman and Osprey, just really stole the show for different reasons, right? So we'll be getting into that. But there were some other good shows or good matches on the card as well. A couple matches that, in my opinion, still did need to be on there, but we'll be getting to that. We will definitely be getting to that. But like I said, starting with NXT Battleground, overall, and like I said, keep in mind, I may be a little biased, but I thought it was a very good PLE. It's they don't go with the takeover moniker for or very often really in NXT anymore, which I dig. They're kind of creating their own identity. I still, man, when I think of Battleground, and that's why for the longest time when the tickets were on sale, I was like, yo, I gotta. This is a NXT show, right? And because it kept saying like WWE Battleground everywhere too, so I was like, yo, like this is NXT, right? And then obviously they got closer to promoting it and confirmed it, but. Opening the card was Sol Ruka and Kaylani Jordan for the NXT Women's North American Championship. And bro, like I became such a bigger fan of Sol Ruka and Kaylani Jordan for different reasons, but like Sol Ruka, I already knew like she's dope, right? And you kind of knew not knew what to expect, but you knew what she could deliver, right? And you knew her moveset, things like that. But Kaylani Jordan has been on a journey the past year, year and a half, maybe closer to 2 years in her journey in NXT. And like she has improved and just grown so much. I hate to say improved because you got to remember, like these NXT talent, a lot of them are still super fresh in their journey, right? So that's why I hate to say like improved or anything like that because they're still growing, So obviously they're going to improve. You're starting at the basics. You're obviously going to get better unless you're just tanking it, and then that's a different story. But Kaylani Jordan, bro, like this match delivered, and I was very surprised by it. I think in the preview show or the prediction show, I may have said that it low-key may be a show stealer. If not, I was thinking about it definitely on the drive there, and just thinking about like the card and what you're looking forward to and excited for and shit like that. But this definitely was low-key one of them. I was hopeful, but it exceeded my expectations. So props to them. So Ruka's entrance is pretty dope too. Cracks me up. And Zarya, it was cool when she got ejected. She went to the entrance where that little, not even a tunnel, but the setup for the screens there, the LED screens. She just stood there. It was pretty dope. And then when Sol Ruka won, she clapped and then went to the back. But I just thought it was funny she didn't go all the way to the back. She kind of just stood there and watched the match finish, which wasn't too much longer at all. Really, maybe a couple minutes, if that. Maybe a minute. I just thought that was funny. And that's one of the things that I really dig being there live. And if you're a fan and you haven't attended a show live and you are able to, and shit, trust me, I totally get ticket prices are insane nowadays. But if you look around, you can find some decently priced ones. So that's how I looked out this weekend, to be honest with you guys, and getting them in advance too. If you know they're coming in your area, definitely look for any pre-sale codes and try to jump on them ASAP because them I forget what they're called, but those resellers, bro, like they snatch them up super quick and they will sell it for 2-3 times, sometimes even more than the original price. So just my advice. And sometimes I still wait to the last minute because I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna go, but yeah, just some tips there. But that's how I was able to get the floor seats too. But yeah, overall, definitely recommend going to a show live for sure. And even if you say the nosebleeds, I've sat in nosebleed seats before, and it's all about the experience, right? So just my thoughts on that. I know a couple people in the past have mentioned they hadn't been to the show or any show, and they were going soon or thinking about it. So I always recommend it, regardless of how the product is. Obviously, like Raw, for instance, is a chore, but not even Raw lately. It's SmackDown, the 3-hour show. I think 2.5 to 3 hours for a PLE is prime, and probably 2 hours for a weekly show, my opinion. But yeah, just some random thoughts I'd had while I was there. But the next match, Hank and Tank with Josh Briggs defeated well, kind of jumped the gun there. But they defeated the Culling, which was Brooks Jensen, Nico Vance, and Sean Spears with Izzy Dame. To be honest with you guys, I stuck around for the entrance for this one, but I needed to use the restroom and I wanted to get a fresh drink to prepare for the evening. So I did not see this match, so apologize for that. But from what I could hear in the concourse area, it got a pretty decent reaction, so props to them. And the entrance was dope for the Calling. Really cool entrance, so props to them. The next match, though, that's why I wanted to make sure I got back, because the next 4 matches coming on the card were obviously definitely looking forward to for different reasons. But Channing Stacks Lorenzo versus Tony D'Angelo. Obviously, we know the story going in here. Stacks turned on Tony D'Angelo. He betrayed the family. And I don't know why I took that so personally, but when I saw Stacks, it just brought out something in me, man. And I had to give him a piece of my mind. And shout out to Sai, he got a little screen grab of it. Let's see if I can pull it up here in a second. But it was really dope seeing the clip, I'm not gonna lie. And to be honest with you, I haven't gone back and watched Battleground on the network. So I'm definitely curious to go back and and see if I can see myself in other entrances. But God, because AEW Double or Nothing, that's why the stream is a little later than what I wanted. But fucking like what, 4 hours, 4.5 hours, like, insane, bro. They got to do something about that shit, man. It was a great show. Don't get me wrong, but 4 hours is insane. So here we go. Oh, so funny. And shout out to Sai again for capturing this beaut. All right, there we go. Hilarious, right? There's me, if you guys can see my mouse on the right, yelling at him because he betrayed the family, guys. He betrayed the family, and I take that personally, right? If you see the Michael Jordan meme, I take that personally. Or I took that personally. But you guys get it. But yeah, it was dope. Great match, too. Great match. What I expected. Sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. She's having a dream. But I really dug this match. And it's kind of what I expected, too. Not to toot my own horn, as I'm sure everyone expected and predicted the same thing. But I think with Stacks recently turning on D'Angelo, right, you needed to establish a good foundation for him and a good starting point and a strong starting point. So I think him beating D'Angelo and going about it the way he did was ideal. You know what I mean? Like it established what it needed to. D'Angelo didn't really lose anything, in my opinion, by taking the loss, but I think Stacks gained a lot. So a win-win there, in my opinion. Let me pull up the chat here. Yeah, Fernando, go Pacers, bro. Go Pacers for sure. Sai, what up, bro? What up? What up? He said, I'm never getting on your wrong side after seeing how you handle Stacks. Yeah, man. Yeah. I have Italian family members, so maybe it's that. Maybe I'm like subconsciously like, I don't know. It's very similar. You know, the similarities there. So I take that personally. Yeah, K. Smith, you said OKC is a force. The Thunder, yeah, from our NBA chat earlier. And Universal, I appreciate you, bro. I saw your comments. I gotta get back to you guys, to people who commented. I appreciate it. You said Ash, great job with the live videos. Everyone in the chat, check them out. But yeah, I appreciate that, dude, for sure, for sure. Kay Smith, you said Kaylani and Soul are my favorite women in NXT, even though Vaquer is a better wrestler than both. Bro, bro, we will be getting to Miss Stephanie for sure. Excuse me, but. And Fernando, your comments about Trick, bro, will definitely be getting there too. Fernando, you said I cheer against all New York teams. Right there with you, my guy. Sai, you said, yeah, if you watch background Battleground back, do it on mute. Maybe Booker's verse, not yet. Okay, great. Oh, Fernando, I appreciate that. You said congratulations on the growing. Very proud of you. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate all you guys for being the foundation, you know, being the early members, the early subscribers here. I appreciate you guys. Couldn't do it without you. I know when people say that, it sounds cliche, but it's the truth, you know? Universally say best female wrestler in NXT right now is Valkyria without a doubt. Bro, yes. And again, we'll definitely be getting. I'm going to get back to some of your comments about that, but for sure. For sure. Okay, Smithy said Booker T was way off. God, you guys are not making me excited to watch this on replay. Yeah, Sai said nearly 900 subscribers. I know, bro. I know. Isn't it crazy? It's wild. So I'm very pumped about it. So thank you for everything you've done, Sai. You have definitely been one of the goats here. I appreciate you. But getting back to the card itself, and again, to confirm, like, I don't think I officially stated it, but or I think I did. Stax did officially defeat D'Angelo. I did because the whole, yeah. But again, I think that was the right move, and I'm excited to see what they do going forward. And let me know what you guys think, because I don't know what the transition would look like for guys like Stax and Tony D'Angelo would be to the main roster. I was thinking about that a little during a couple of the, or actually the in between from their match ending to the next match coming up. Not that that's I don't mean that in a bad way, or like I don't believe in them or anything like that. Like I think that they would do quite well. If for some reason I could just picture them on SmackDown, but I'm just concerned character wise and investment wise and excitement wise for the people running the show in the back. You know what I mean? If you guys remember, freak, what was his name, man? Oh my gosh, the dude who with the stocks who hit it big when the crypto. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his name? His indie name is Trevor Lee. Golly, what is his name, bro? Trevor Lee. Cameron Grimes. Fucking Cameron Grimes, bro. If you guys remember Cameron Grimes, I thought he would do much better on the main roster than he did. And I don't think that was any fault of his. I'm pretty certain he was drafted to SmackDown as well. They just hardly used him at all. And then they ended up letting him go. I don't even know how much, maybe 6 months to a year later, if that. And they just didn't use him. And I thought that was a shame because, again, I'm not saying that he would have ascended to the main event, like the main event tier or anything like that, or even upper mid card. But I think he would have been a solid like mid card wrestler, you know. And if you just gave him time, and not even saying to keep the same exact gimmick and character, but allow him time to introduce that to the main roster and then grow and go from there. So that's why people like Stax and Tony D'Angelo, I kind of worry about with their transition to the main roster. So I hope that they stay in NXT for as long as they can. Not again because any fault of their own, just with the fact that I just don't know how well they would be managed, really. And again, I don't know. Like I don't want to repeat myself, but it's just kind of concerning because you know that those two in particular, like the D'Angelo family, like they have been in NXT for some time now, and you get to a point where it's like, okay, like you have pretty much done all you can do, unless they're gonna have Stax or D'Angelo go for the championship at any point. So that's on like you gotta do something with them soon, right? And again, not saying that they're finished with this. I see this probably going another month or two and D'Angelo getting the win back, possibly, or not. Maybe they stick with Stax getting the better hand and getting the victory over D'Angelo and moving on from there, and maybe revisiting it later on. But we'll see. I don't think so with just the way, like I said, with how the match finished, but we'll see. I don't know. But again, like I really like what they're doing with the story for them two in particular right now. And again, one more thing before we move on. Like it's another reason why say what you want about NXT and the characters and shit like that, but they do have stories, whether they're great or kind of what is MJF's thing mid. They do have stories for the majority of the talent, and it's not just like a quick thrown together story or anything like that. Like it's stories that go week to week. So props to them. I guess props is the key word for today. But But moving on, y'all. Moving on to, besides the main event, because of how it ended up uh with the decision there in the main event. I didn't want to say it ended up ending. But yo, this match fucking killed it. Stephanie Vaquer, our NXT Women's Champion, defending against Jordan Grace. And I went into the match a big fan of Jordan Grace, right? And obviously a fan of Stephanie, but I have been a long-term fan of Jordan Grace, and I have been really excited for her chance to come into WWE. And obviously, she started in NXT, which I agree with. And I was in the camp of, if you're not going to have her just come in and fucking dominate the Rumble and potentially win and kind of pull the shot card and go from there. Not even saying she needed to win at WrestleMania. Probably would have even been better if she won the Rumble and then lost. And again, not advocating for that, but if you were in the camp of you being WWE wanting to push her as like a dominant force, then go all in at that point, you know? But I dig the journey that she's going on, going through NXT, and I think her time will come. But bro, Stephanie Vaquer, like, she is just on another level. And again, that's nothing against and no disrespect to any of the other women's talent in the division, because the NXT women's division as a whole is fucking kick ass, yo. Like, they make a solid case for possibly the best women's division anywhere. You know, I'd have to really take a look at all of them and compare them. But yo, like, as a whole, and again, like, they don't have as many tenured talent, but I think that's what adds to it as well. Because, like I said earlier, people like Kaylani Jordan, seeing their growth and seeing someone like Sol Ruka come in as well, who wasn't, again, a complete newbie when she came in, but, you know, seeing both of their journeys, and Sol Ruka is going to be a star. I see her, not to go backwards, but just moments during her match, I saw her, like, it, for whatever reason, just flashes of her and Charlotte Flair facing off at some point. So again, props to them, and props to the women's division as a whole. Like I said, they're in NXT. So like I said, when I say like Stephanie Vaquer is just like on another level, that is a tribute to the NXT women's division as a whole, in my opinion. Now, that being said, I thought this match, again, just with the shock factor of the main event, that's why possibly it gives that match the edge. But yo, like, this match was low key a favorite of mine too, like 1A, 1B type shit. I just, the way they put that match together, the showcase of their moves, and just like, it didn't look like it was spot spot setup. Everything was fluid. Everything had a purpose. And it's just like, yo, it really gives you hope for the main roster as well in the future, because people like Stephanie, Jordan Grace, even Kaylani, So Ruka, all those gals are the future on the main roster. You know what I mean? And I think we're just in a really great place for that. And coincidentally, we have Evolution coming up, and I don't know if it's Evolution or if it's Saturday night's main event in particular. That is, I could probably look it up. That is slated for the exact same time that All In is. So I just think that's just petty, and I low key love it. But it's like, come on, really? But that is going to be held in Atlanta, which I think is a very good location. I'm tempted to go too. Tickets went on sale today, I believe. So if you're interested in going, check that out. But I think, yeah, so it is. There we go. So Saturday night's main event is scheduled for Saturday, July 12th. I don't know why I keep conflating July and June. Like, I keep wanting to say All In is going to be in June, but it's not. But Evolution is obviously going to be on Sunday, with Saturday night's main event obviously taking place on July 12th, which is maybe not so coincidentally the same date and weekend as All In, which is just kind of grimy. I mean, it's not like they're putting like fucking like the Royal Rumble against All In or anything like that, or a big time pay-per-view. It's Saturday night's main event, you know. It is what it is. And Evolution isn't going to be really interfering with anything. So it's low-key petty, right? But I respect it, but I do like I'm on both sides, right? Like because I'm kind of petty myself. That's why I chuckle about it, but I get it if you're Tony Khan in AEW, you're like, come on, really? And I think I heard, not I think I heard, but I don't remember the exact response, but Tony Khan, I'm not sure if it was on the like that press call that he does leading into Double or Nothing, or if it was on the media scrum afterwards. My days are just kind of conflating with each other, but he was asked the question, you know, like essentially, like how does he feel about WWE counter programming All in AEW continuously, you know, which you can't deny that they are, you know, like they can damn near choose any weekend depending on where they want to go. So it's come on, you know, like I, not even like me, like, and that's why like I don't get that feedback because you guys are great, but some content creators are, you know, they get pegged as like a WWE shill or an AEW shill. So I'm glad you guys see me for what I am. But it's funny that like some people just don't acknowledge it or like, oh no, it is just a coincidence, and it is, you know, like they really want to go to Atlanta. That could be the only time it's open, that arena, and very very possible. But it's like, come on. But yeah, I think but with Tony Khan's response, he essentially said, you know, it's obvious and it happened to Jim Crockett Promotions back in the day, but they're not going to, it's not going to have the same outcome, essentially. And I was like, yo, like props to you, bro. That was a very good answer. Very good answer. So props to Tony Khan. But getting back to Stephanie and Jordan Grace, because obviously I went on a tangent there that spiraled. The match itself was just fucking fantastic, guys. If you did not watch Battleground and you have a little bit of time on your hands and you want to check a couple things out, please go back and make sure this is one of those matches and one of those things you fill your time with, because it's definitely worth it. And bro, the I don't want to say the aura because I hate how like cliched and like popular that word has gotten now, but it's the only thing that accurately describes when Stephanie makes her entrance, bro. Like I can't even imagine what it's gonna look like on a big stage. But bro, like she is such a star. It's just wild. It's just wild. Like I don't know. Like you have to be there to feel it. And obviously like it comes across on TV as well, but that shit hit me and I became such a bigger fan of hers like after Battleground. And she is so pretty, I will say. Like, props to her. And she's so nice. You know, when she made her entrance, she was very serious. And I think she gave like one fan like I don't want to say a high five, you know, like slap one person's one person's hand. But I was like, okay, like, maybe she's like that serious character, like she doesn't want to like break that vibe. And I was like, you know, and you can appreciate and respect that. But after the match and she was making her way to the back. Obviously, if you guys have seen my videos or my video compilation of Battleground, I think that's in there at one point. I'm pretty certain it is because I was pretty stoked about it. But she was like not greeting every fan because the crew kind of rushed them to the back because they do have limited time in between matches. But she was slapping like everyone's hands, making her way to the back, and you could tell she was just really stoked and just really happy to acknowledge the fans, you know. And I don't say completely different than her entrance, but it made me kind of respect her even more too, because she takes the entrance seriously. She takes the build up to the match seriously. Like it's serious business, you know, especially when you're the champion going in to defend your title. And then after you win, you know, like you're stoked, you're relieved, you know, like check, you know, like another nice success. So now you can kind of celebrate a bit. So I dig it. And props to her and props to Jordan as well, because I don't think Jordan lost anything by taking the L here again. I think it's just a matter of time for her. I think it's almost a no-brainer that Stephanie is going to get called up probably soon. Maybe they finish out the year with her and she's a surprise entrant in the Rumble and then transitions that way. or depending on when they do their next trade window or anything like that, maybe they do something. Obviously, she would have to lose the championship, and whenever that happens, that will obviously be a key indicator, something to not look forward to, but to look for. But yeah, I just think God, like it's only a matter of time for her, and I'm almost in the camp of like milk her in NXT for as long as you can, and call her up to the main roster because she's probably got like another 10 years. You know what I mean? So you're blessed that she chose WWE if you're WWE too, because she obviously could have gone anywhere, and I can't even imagine the back that Tony Khan was throwing at her. But again, in that one interview that she had, she went with her heart and she went with what she felt like inside she wanted to do. So respect, you know what I mean? But moving on, Obafemi, and I was very surprised when the graphic was displayed on the screen that Obafemi and Miles Bourne were up next because I mean it's an NXT PLE, like you would expect the NXT champion to close the show. If that was the main reason, like again, I understand Hendry and Trick Williams ended up being the bigger match, so I get it in retrospect, but when I saw that graphic, I was like, wait, what? Like, you're not gonna have your heavy like your own heavyweight champion close the show? So like not even it's not even like it's someone from the main from the main roster or anything like that. It was someone from a completely different company, a completely different world champion. Um it was just kind of funny. But respect to them, you know, and kudos to them for not being so hung up on themselves and being able to allow TNA to headline their PLE. And again, I know it's not the main roster PLE, but still, it's a WWE product. It's a WWE branded product that TNA not only had their World Championship headline, but went down in a historic moment. So we'll obviously be getting to that here momentarily. But that was the main reason why I was surprised there. But yeah, the match itself, Femi versus Miles Bourne, obviously for the NXT Championship, it delivered, man. It really delivered, and I think they have something there with Miles Bourne as well. Obviously, he's going to be more of um, a long term project for NXT, and but I think NXT again, and this is another reason why I really dig NXT as a whole, but it's I think we as wrestling fans are really fortunate that NXT exists, right? We're getting an influx of talent that aren't thrust to the main roster prematurely. Now again, a whole nother story is the call ups and the not booking and not handling correctly. That's a completely different story. But at least in regards to NXT creating nothing like something out of nothing. And again, no disrespect, but you look at talents like Bianca Belair, for instance, had no wrestling background besides just being super athletic and a bodybuilder and a lifter and things like that. She obviously and was in sports and things like that. So she's got the skills and the talent there, but she in regards to like hitting the indie scenes and anything like that, like she was never a part of that. She went right into NXT and she was developed there. So seeing someone like that be developed into NXT and then flourish on the main roster, if she was just thrusted onto SmackDown or Raw, like who opportunity to really grow. So that's just another reason why NXT as a whole is a plus for me existing. And again, do I think the week to week shows hit and are super entertaining and a lot of shit is just kind of cringe? I'm not gonna say a lot of shit, but some shit is kind of cringe. And I think Ava is just a terrible general manager character wise. Like, come on, bro. Like it's. I just wish they would do something about her. And I don't know. Like I don't mean like nothing against her personally. Like I'm sure she's great and super nice, but character wise, like it's just some of the shit she does doesn't make sense. So I think there are some like minor changes they can make in NXT to make it flourish even more, but seeing the growth that it's had from the early days of NXT 2.0 to where it's at now, like it's again, it's never going to be the black and gold era, and I don't think it should shoot for that. I think in how it has been, like it should continue to try to be its own identity and just go from there. But I'm gonna wrap up with this match, and then I'll get to your comments here before I move on to the main event. I think, like I said, Miles Bourne is going to be a long term project, but what he showed and the fan reaction, it said a lot. You know what I mean? And I hope he felt that. And I hope that set in with him too. You know, like I hope if he goes back and watches this on replay that he realizes how much love he ended up getting, and I hope it came across that way on TV too, because the respect that he gained throughout the match, like you could feel with the crowd too. So props to him, and special shout out to him because there was a fan who, I don't want to assume anything, but a fan that he was wearing one of those the headsets, you know, so that monitor and kind of limit the noise, I would imagine. He was sitting, I think maybe like 2 rows in front of me on the floor, but the way the setup was with the seats, so like there was 2 seats behind me, and then there was a decent amount of space between those seats, and then obviously like the metal barricade that was set up, and then my row, which was 4 seats, it ended up being me and then 2 kids and a dude, which is really cute. They were great kids. And then like it got to the main, however many chairs, but there was a decent amount of kind of open space. So every time the wrestlers would make their entrances or kind of head to the back, you know, obviously people would rush to the side to the barricade to, you know, get the pictures or whatever. And he had this sign. It was that said like his first show, and then please sign in the corner. And Miles Bourne was legit the only wrestler who stopped and signed this kid's sign. And again, like I know they're rushing to the back, and I don't mean anything negative against the other talent because they probably couldn't see it, or they saw the sign, right? But they probably couldn't read it unless they specifically stopped and read it. And they do get rushed to the back by the crew, like I said earlier. So they legit don't have much time at all. But Miles Bourne, he was kind of walking a little bit slower, you know, selling the effects and everything like that. And he was walking, and then he kind of stopped midway, and then he read the sign, and he signed it, and I thought that was really dope. Like it, I don't know exactly what he said, but the kid was so happy, dude, so happy, and it just made me happy because that's what wrestling does, man. It brings people together, and people from all types of backgrounds, you know, and different issues and things like that, like enjoy wrestling. And it's about the feeling, you know. That's why I said earlier, like I truly recommend you go into a show if you can. Even if it's just like an indie show, and probably more important if it's an indie show, you should support your independent wrestling. But yeah, man, it was just super dope, and that made me you know, probably again personally like him more. And again, it doesn't matter if he wins or loses during any of his matches, or if he has a shit segment or the best segment, because he is winning at life, going home to Stephanie Vaquer. So props to you, Miles Bourne. Props to you, my friend. But I'm going to pull up the chat here, and then, like I said, we'll get to the main event and then jump on over to Double or Nothing. One second, just gotta scroll up here. Oh, what up, Sean? What up? What up? What up, Jesse? Universal, yeah, 1,000 subs coming very soon. Yeah, bro, we'll see. We will see. Okay, Sean, you said I really like the match, but man, Grace needs to come to the main roster very soon. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if she ends up going up there prior to Stephanie, or like I said, they keep her down there a little bit longer, have her win the NXT championship eventually, and go from there. So we'll see. That is a good point, though. Obviously, you know they're gonna want her up there ASAP. Um, but yeah, I wonder who will end up going up there soon, or before each other. Fernando, you said Cameron got Cameron Grimes got the shaft, and they are dropping the ball on Carmelo as well. Facts, dude. They are another good example of not great transition. But what up, Sean? Universal, you're very kind. I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you very much. Yes, and K. Smith, very good point. Compliments to the Booker Man, Shawn Michaels as well. Very good point. And Universal, I agree. You said Vaquera and Grace need to sat and feud for a while. Um, Vaquera needs to build her title reigns, possibly plural. Don't rush them. Yeah, and again, like I don't. That's why I was saying probably finish out the year for both of them, and then sometime next year bring them to the main roster. And that's why like I don't even like bringing anyone from NXT to the main roster between the Rumble and Mania, because at that point you're literally like on the road to WrestleMania. You already have damn near like your storyline set, where you're gonna go in mind. So bringing new talent in and rushing anything isn't, my opinion, an ideal. Granted, you still have like 2 months, so it's not like it's completely last minute. But with someone like, especially Stephanie Vaquer, like in my opinion, you want to kind of milk that, and especially like when she's on the main roster, and really build her and let people see why she is a big deal and make her even more of a big deal. And the same thing with Jordan Grace too. Jordan Grace, I think just with like your average fan has more awareness and more familiarity with the average fan, so it's not going to, I don't want to say be as difficult, or like that's very negative, but it's not going to take as much time establishing Jordan Grace on the main roster, especially since they can reference TNA. It's not going to be like, oh, like around the world and other companies and things like that. Like they can mention TNA directly for Jordan Grace. So yeah, like it's going to be really interesting in my opinion to see who ends up getting called up first between the two and their futures after that. Dude, yeah, and Soul is a hella athletic. She is. She is super athletic, dude. It's fucking insane. What is it? That Soul Snatcher? That's the name of it, right? Like unreal. Like the precision, like is just I don't understand it. I don't understand it. What up, Joshua? You said Ash is just a wrestling show. I am, bro. You're spot on about that. Universally said in the YouTube world, it is best not to be, or not to pick sides and be impartial. Smartest way to be. Yeah, yeah, that's true. But I definitely have opinions too, so that's why I try not to be like, I try not to play the fence, But I also try to see both sides too. But I still, even if I can see both sides, I still try to decide what side to be on. Oh man. Oh yeah, guys, I ain't worried about it. Josh is good. He's been in here before. I appreciate that, guys, though, but it's all good. Cool. I really dig you guys having like your own like side conversations in the chat. It's really dope. I like going through and reading it all. Universal, you say I'll share major news with all of you. Tess Blanchard is coming to NXT very soon. How do you get the inside scoop, bro? Like how do you be getting that info? And man, it wouldn't surprise me, but oh, that reaction. If the certain chance that she's been getting, or I don't, she hasn't been getting them lately, but if the chance that she was getting at the beginning of her TNA return carry over to WWE, because now audience will have a chance to express their opinion as well. That WWE will be in a very interesting position. You know what I mean? And again, like I'm not gonna get into all that again, but it sucks because she is just insanely talented. Like I remember being there at the TNA tapings and just watching her in person. Like it's like a fucking shame that like all that shit happened, because she is just insanely talented. So it wouldn't surprise me, but man, like I don't know. That reaction would be something else. Something else. K Smith, you said, didn't Bailey have the longest NXT women's title run? I think that belongs to Asuka. In my opinion, I'm not. That's my latest memory of the longest title reign for NXT. Fernando, you said, I agree 100. Ash, I'm glad you said something about Ava Green. Most people are afraid to say something because she's the rock starter. No, I'm respectfully, fuck that shit. Like, I don't. And I think that's maybe why it bothers me even more, low key. And again, like, no disrespect to her personally, character wise, like, she's just not good in the role, you know. And it takes a lot to be a general manager. We have been through shit general managers over the decades in WWE. We are lucky right now with Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, but bro, like, it takes a lot to be a general manager because you do have to have a certain personality to where you blend in, but you still assert your authority as well. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like a referee, in my opinion. Like, you need to be there because you are the one that's low key in control. But you need to be almost invisible too. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be about you. Like, one of the lasting thoughts shouldn't be about what the referee did or what Ava said or what Ava did to the match or Ava stripping Stephanie Vaquer after going through all this to make her a double champion. Shit like that. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm like, it just doesn't line up. And again, like, am I thinking that Ava is back there writing her own lines and writing her own script and direction and writing all these storylines? No, it's most likely what she's been given. So I do give her a little bit of leeway in that regard. But bro, like, it's just cringe. And again, like, I look, you feel bad for her too, because can you imagine being, I don't want to say in the shadow of the Rock, but being the Rock's child, like that, and it's almost like a blessing and a curse. You know what I mean? Like, it's super cool. Like, you probably wouldn't change it for anything. Like, you're super happy about it, but then it's almost like, damn, like, you feel like you have to fill his shoes, as you feel like it's something you have to live up to. Like, I don't envy that as at all. So, mm, respect to her, but it's still cringe. Waliko, what up, bro? You said I'm here. What up, bro? What up? Thank you for popping in on my spontaneous lives. I appreciate you, bro. Oh. All right, we will get to what up, user. We will get to your question too, because we'll be talking about the main event here in 1 second. No, Waliko, you said sorry for coming in late. Guys, down with the cold. It's freezing here. The weather in my country as well. Nah, bro, stay safe out there. And you can't you can't and you don't need to apologize for being late because I am very last minute. So it's all good, bro. I just appreciate you popping in. Fernando says Silverca's gonna be fire on the main roster. Yeah, dude, she really is. She really is. Yeah, baby. You said I'm glad Ash's channel is growing. I remember when it was just me and her chatting. Oh, glad you guys are here and see what I saw early on. I wish you the best, Ashley. That's dope, bro. I appreciate that. And yeah, baby, I appreciate that like very much. Those are the days, man. The beginning, the journey. That's why I love it. Like that. The journey is the best part for sure. Okay, Smooth, you said Tessa has too much baggage. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Like, it's a real sticky situation. You know, you gotta see what outweighs the other, right? If there are more pros than cons, then roll the dice, you know, and go for it. And sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness, and you can kind of get away with it. And there is a case to be made for TNA kind of breaking that ice, you know, and allowing fans to get that out of their system. But like I said, putting her on a bigger stage, being in WWE, obviously you have more viewers, you have more people in attendance. So, and especially with the mixture of the WWE fan base right now that are attending the shows. Like, it's not like a super hardcore base, but it is fans that are more knowledgeable than in the past, where it was just like families bringing in their young kids. It's more of like dads, like, you know, and moms, but it's more of like them bringing in their kids, you know, and like getting them infiltrated into the into the product. You know what I mean? Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, Fernando, you said Tessa on NXT would be excellent. Fans are going to just get over it. How much time must she get punished for the past? Yeah, bro. I agree with you there. You know what I mean? It is, how much time, like, do you pay for something you have done in the past? And uh I forget the, like, La Rose Negra. I think I forget the exact her exact name. Apologies, but I, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty certain she forgave her, and they, I guess, discussed it and have moved on. Um, so yeah, like, it's just one of them things, man. One of them things. Maliko, you said we need a new blood hatred filled feud like what we got with Punk and Drew. I think WWE is lacking that type of feud right now. Good point, bro. I agree. I agree. Maliko, we're gonna get. Well, I'll get to your comment about Swerve's outfit when we get to AEW, bro. Oh man. All right, guys. Moving on to the main event for Battleground, and then we will officially move on to Double or Nothing. Like I said, we had Trick Williams facing off against your TNA World Heavyweight Champion Joe Hendry. And again, like I said in the preview, Joe Hendry is one of those characters where if you dig it, you like it, and if not, you most likely possibly hate it, or it makes you cringe, or anything like that. um, I like it. You know, I find it very comical. And I dig people who find a way to get themselves over. You know what I mean? Not to just kind of say that term, but do, like, make their own band waves, and really get their name out there on their own. You know what I mean? And he had been doing that shit since before he got into TNA. So props to him. And obviously TNA amplified it, which was smart on their point. I think they dragged out having him finally win the TNA championship to begin with. Like, it took forever. But that being said, I think he really did well in the role. I think he did a lot of media. He did a lot of sit down interviews with like local TV shows, like morning shows and shit like that. So props to him. He really did the damn thing. I think that they should have pulled the trigger on him sooner, and maybe had his reign be a little longer, and really see what he can do in the ring more, and really amplify that, and try to see what he could do, just kind of point blank. You know what I mean? And again, like, he is one of those wrestlers that is more character based. Obviously, he's not going to go in there and have like a super, like a Seth Rollins tentacle type match, right, or anything like that. But he is like a little John Cena. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't necessarily need to go in there and have all the big moves and shit like that. He just needs to go out there and be able to combat his opponent very well, and be able to hit his moves and really engage the fans. And that's what he does, So I dig that. And it's just it's fun, like, like the whole believe shit. And it's, I don't know, like his turn and then the smile thing cracks me up. But I think his entrance, like, he needs to add more lyrics to it, because you can only sing, like, it's like two sentences, and then you start waving your hands. I think the wave your hands part is great, but he needs to add like another bar or some shit in there. Like, do extend that shit, man. Do a remix. But yeah. So the match itself was just fucking fantastic. They started off with the fans just being super pumped for it and low key kind of losing their mind before it even started, which was very fitting. And I was like, okay, like this is it adds to the atmosphere of the match, you know, and it adds to the level of excitement, you know, and I think it gets the wrestlers pumped too. Like I feel like if they can feel it to that level and they feel how excited the fans are before they really get into anything, that's got to be just even more motivating. You know what I mean? So the match itself was again really good. And like I was just saying about Hendry, man, like he doesn't need to go in there and have the most technically sound match or anything like that. The moves he does, and he's almost like a low key power man. You know what I mean? Like seeing him lift Trick for certain shit, it's like, yo, because Trick is a big dude. You know what I mean? So it was just impressive. And I think the layout again of this match was very well done. And yo, the ending just fucking wild. And I predicted this one going in. I was in the camp of if you're going to set up this match and you're going to pull the trigger on Trick and have him go down this bad guy route and really just be more of like an asshole, you know what I mean? More about himself, just more of like, you know, he's gonna go out there and do what he needs to do for himself and not really care about anyone else, then you need to go all in. And they did. They did. And everyone was just fucking shocked. When Trick hit that trick shot, yo, it was very unexpected and the crowd just fucking lost their minds, dude. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. I was very happy that they pulled the trigger too, though. Like for the reasons that I just stated, but sometimes you can get a little like what do they call it, like gun shy or whatever, or like I don't know, like cold feet. For lack of other phrases I can't think of. And you can pass up on a really good idea because it's maybe you think too outside the box, or maybe you're just scared for whatever, or not scared, but maybe concerned for whatever reason. And I love that they pulled the trigger on this shit, man. I love that they put the title on Trick. I love how confident he was winning the championship. And if you got, again, not a plug, but if you haven't seen the clips video that I posted from Battleground on the channel here, towards the end, obviously Trick makes his way to the back, and he does. I mean, I hate to call it the Vince McMahon strut, the Vince strut, but he does that power strut, man. You know, you can call it Conor McGregor as well, but the confidence that he had already is just emanating. So I can't wait to see what he ends up doing in TNA, and I think it's smart because it allows him to stay away from the main roster for right now and not to just be dwelling on NXT. Because if he lost this, man, like I feel like it would have done more harm than good. And I just feel like not that he wouldn't be able to bounce back, but it just like what does he do next? You know what I mean? And this allows him to break out, do his own thing, but not have to go after the NXT championship and fool around with Obafemi. But they can revisit that later on. So it's a win-win in my opinion, and it really shakes shit up for both brands. So props to them. All right, guys, but we will be moving on to AEW Double or Nothing now, and I just need to switch over my lineups here. Again, I wanted to start this stream earlier. Oh, and really quick, user, I was going through here. User, I wanted to bring this up though and address it regarding Trick. You said, do you think Trick is going to be a transitional champ for Mike Santana? I don't want to say transitional because I can see Trick holding on to the championship for a good 3, 4, possibly now I would say like a good 3 to 4 months, and then them slowly build up Santana as well and start some tension between them. Because even if they were to go to a match between Trick and Santana within the next month or so with at their next pay-per-view, not the upcoming pay-per-view, but maybe the one after that, um, then I wouldn't even see Mike Santana winning that initial fight. I see Trick doing some, shicey shit to retain the championship and then going from there for the rematch. Especially now, I can see it kind of being delayed with Mike Santana being integrated into NXT. I was super pumped when they showed him on the screen, backstage and being interviewed and just under the WWE umbrella. Like, it's really cool, man. And to see how he bet on himself going from a tag wrestler in AEW as fucking fantastic tag wrestler, and wanting to branch out and be a single star and leaving Ortiz and doing his own thing. And now, not only did he really establish himself in TNA, but now finally being able to showcase his talents and himself in WWE and really get his name out there under the WWE umbrella. So I'm super pumped for him, man. Super pumped. But now, officially moving on to AEW Double or Nothing. I did not watch the pre-show, so I will not be addressing that because obviously I was at Battleground, and once I realized that Double or Nothing was fucking over 4 hours itself, I was like, Jesus Lord, I gotta get to the show itself. So, Mercedes Moné facing off against Jamie Hayter in the Women's Owen Hart Foundation Cup Tournament finale. This match was very good. I think, to me, I still think Mercedes match with Athena, and then possibly, what was the other match? Hers and oh my gosh, I can't think of another one. But this was probably like top 3 of Mercedes' best matches in AEW so far. So good on them for that. But again, like, it's one of those where I'm low-key kind of torn because I feel like Hayter should have won the tournament itself, but she's not going to, right? And the story that they're leading to at All In with Mercedes and Tony. So I feel like if it was a different end game for Mercedes, then the outcome could have been different in this match. But I mean, the lay of the land has been written for a couple months now, with Mercedes ending up, where she's going to facing off against Tony Storm at All In. So it is what it is. And again, that's that, to kill two birds with one stone. That's low-key the mindset that you had going into this Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa match. And like I said in the prediction show, the only real question with that is, or was, if Mariah May was going to make an appearance, and she did not. I don't think we got any type of reference about Mariah May. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that's very telling to me. That really shows that the reports that were out there could potentially be true, that she is WWE bound. And like I mentioned in one of the shows that I did before, that she is low-key kind of taking this Stephanie Vaquera route and following her heart, and not the money. And if that's the case, again, major respect and props to that, because it's very easy, especially nowadays with the economy and shit like that, to take the guaranteed bag and secure yourself financially and go from there. But again, WWE, it's not like they're gonna just lowball you completely. Like, I'm sure if you're accepting a contract, it's at least somewhat comparable, even if it's off by even a few $100,000. Like, you had the potential to make that up in bonuses throughout the year, merch sales and shit like that. So low-key, if I was in that position, like, I would probably do the same. Because again, like, you don't know if and when the opportunity will present itself again in the future, especially with how hot WWE is. And granted, they aren't as hot as they were even last year, a year and a half ago now. But the product is still very hot. They're still making stupid money. So, my opinion, it's, why not jump on, I don't want to say jump on the bandwagon, but kind of jump on the bandwagon while you can. You know what I mean? While that's just going strong, and go from there. Because again, like, I'm not one of those people that think AEW is dying or anything like that, or even close to that, to be honest with you. Like, again, has their stories and their weekly television been where they were at 2 years ago, 3 years ago? No. They're in a little bit of a slump. They're getting a little bit better, in my opinion. It's still not where they were, and there's still some big inconsistencies and questions that need to be answered for various situations and various storylines going on. But I think overall, as a whole, especially coming out of All In, I think All In is almost going to be like a reset and a a statement that they're going to make with new champions going forward and kind of setting a new stage. So obviously we'll get to the predictions for that when we get closer and I have an actual card besides the two matches that we know for certain are going to be there. And again, like a lot of people were saying that Jamie Hayter should have won the tournament, and like I said earlier, like you can make a case for that, but I don't fault them for wanting to put forward the biggest women's wrestling match that they can, and that being Toni Storm and Mercedes. Like it's one of those things too where, and I have done it myself, where we shit on AEW and Tony Khan in particular for not pulling the trigger on big matches when he can, right? Like it's crazy to think, but they had CM Punk and Cody Rhodes in the same company at one point. Bryan Danielson was still active when Punk was there. Like so many matches, and that's just the big names going against each other, not to mention all the other matches they could have had with other talent, right? Other like lower on the card talent to build them up. Um so we, myself included, like I said, shit on them for not pulling the trigger on big matches when they have the opportunity. And if they were to not pull the trigger on this one, like I would be in that camp, like, yo, like you should have, and that's where I'm at. Now, who do I think is gonna win that match? I am reserving time to ponder about that because I'm torn on who I think is gonna win between Mercedes and Toni Storm. So I'm gonna wait and see how this plays out. I think they have a really good opportunity to build a substantial story between the two of these ladies and to really exploit both characters. And I can't wait to hear what Tony Storm has to say about Mercedes, going into just going weekly, like and going into the match. So that'll be fun. But the second, yeah, or I'm sorry, technically the second match that we had on the card, FTR facing off against Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. Again, this match was what you kind of expected it to be. FTR taking the W here. It's good to see Nigel in the ring again, but I this was one of the matches where I just feel like it didn't need to be on the card. And not that I don't want these guys to get a good payday and shit like that and not be able to be on a pay-per-view, but it's like, bro, like when your card is what, 4.5 hours and it's not an all-in type of show, like you're really doing more harm than good, in my opinion. So this match was fine, it was what it was, but I just think it didn't need to be on the card. You know what I mean? It could have been on the go home show of Collision. So there's that. Ricochet versus Mark Briscoe, though, in a stretcher match. Again, like I said on the previous show, I don't know why this is a stretcher match. That seemed very dramatic and very steep for their small feud, if that. And fucking Mark Briscoe, bro, like lost probably half of his blood. Like it very early on too. I just couldn't imagine. It reminded me of Eddie Kingston at, what was it, last year's Anarchy in the Arena or the year before, when he just had blood just covering it from the head to like belly, and that visual, man, when Eddie Kingston came out with that gas container, just iconic. But Mark Briscoe, bro, just whew, insane. But this match were in the direction I don't think many people were shocked that it did, and in my opinion, obviously should have, with Ricochet taking the W here. Again, very solid match, and I appreciate what these guys put into it, but did not need to be a stretcher match. And bro, like, and again, like, I don't think he probably intended on bleeding as much as he did, but Jesus Lord, like, you didn't need to do that here, man. Not saying there shouldn't have been blood, because with a stretcher match, like, you do need some type of, like, some type of seriousness to it and like next level shit, but like, whew. Damn. Next up, we had the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, with MVP and MJF. Talk about your acronyms. facing off and obviously defeating the Sons of Texas. I almost wanted to say Sons of Anarchy. Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara via pinfall. Again, another match that didn't necessarily need to be on the card, even though, well, I take that back. With the story, it did need to be on the card, and the level of I hate to call it like superstardom, but the level of talent that Bobby Lashley and Benjamin are, and obviously the Hurt Syndicate, and just the presence that they bring to the roster, and of course MJF, the inclusion there. It with this story though, it's I. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll get to your comments once we get to the card here. But I'm really kind of curious to see what we end up getting match wise at All In. Do we end up getting a tag team match between Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin versus like FTR? Does MJF turn on the Hurt Syndicate prior and align with FTR, and somehow they get away to the tag team titles like that? Or do we end up getting a Bobby Lashley and MJF one-on-one match? I think that's going to be really interesting to see how the story plays out the next few weeks. Again, some of the build and the way we got here hasn't been great, but I think going forward, it's going to be really fun to see, and I hope it's going to be fun, but it's going to be really interesting, if not fun, to see the direction that they take. And I think if and when MJF does turn on the Hurt Syndicate, that's going to just solidify them being baby faces too. So it's just going to be a matter of, are they going to continue to be tag team champions or remain as a group, right? I'm not saying obviously break up, but if it's going to have Bobby Lashley face off against MJF and go solo, it's just really going to depend on the breakup and what they do, because you can't have MJF going 1-on-2, right? If MJF screws over Lashley and Benjamin and costs them the championships or anything like that, you can't have MJF going against two guys, and then obviously you have FTR as two people, right? So you can't have 3-on-2. Maybe you can include MVP at that point, or maybe Cedric Alexander makes his debut by then, and they end up going 3-on-3 and potentially into the trios division. Don't kill me, guys. So there's a few different avenues I think they can go down, and different options that they have. So I'll be interested to see what they choose. The next matchup, which I thought did not need to be on the card but ended up being fantastic, was Kazuchika Okada facing off against Speedball Mike Bailey for the AEW Continental Championship. Again, I still don't think this match needed to be on pay-per-view, but they fucking kicked ass, and it was so good to see shades of the old Okada. And again, you guys know me, I'm not going to act like I've seen the full catalog of Okada or been watching him from years, but the matches I have gone back and watched, you can tell it's been night and day between the Okada of New Japan and the Okada of AEW. And I think that's pretty convenient because we're 2 months away ish? Yeah, 2 months away from All In and the suspected match against Omega. And I hope that's a title unification match because they just need to merge this shit together. It's just ridiculous at this point. But fantastic match. I love the ending where Okada hit a dropkick on Bailey as he was coming off the top turnbuckle and then turned it into the Rainmaker. It was just beautiful. Beautiful. So props to Okada for actually showing signs of his old self. And was it like gray, dark hair? Like very, very cool. I love it. And again, Mike Bailey, he was, for whatever reason in that match, I kind of, or it made me think of Orange Cassidy. And hear me out, not in ring like moveset wise or anything of that nature, but utility player wise. And the next Orange Cassidy in the sense that he can go out there and have solid mid card matches and eventually potentially flirt with the main card and the main event scene. I think it's going to take some time, but again, it took time with Cassidy as well. But I think the connection that Bailey has with the fans as well, and the quirkiness, like the awkward quirkiness that he has about himself, like I feel like that could be pretty engaging. Again, not for all people, but I think maybe the majority. And that's something that he can really exploit and take advantage of. Again, I'm not seeing him even headline a pay-per-view, maybe, depending on how seriously they push him. But and again, I'm not even sitting here advocating for it, but it just reminded me of kind of the ascension that Orange Cassidy went on. Not to steal away from the main event, but it was just very, very similar to that. Um, again, you guys may think I'm way off on that. But moving on, we had the Anarchy in the Arena match, guys. This match, I'm not even going to pretend to recap this match. We had about half of the roster included. We had Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, Willow Nightingale, the Ops, which is Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Shibata, facing off against the Death Riders, which consists of Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Marina Shafir, and Wheeler Yuta, and the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. And I did forget, oh no, I did mention Willow Nightingale. Okay. This match, this Anarchy in the Arena match, I think was damn near maybe the best one, or if for like the one with Eddie Kingston, with the gasoline can, like I mentioned. But I think this one, it may just be recency bias. This one was just, it gave you a little bit of everything. Again, like, I'm not a fan of playing the music on repeat. I thought it was it was ironic to play the "I'm So Excited" song, right? But I liked Omega pretty much being like, "Fuck this shit! Like, let's play some real tunes," and threw on "Bodies" by Drowning Pool. And the second that song hit, the first riffs, Tabs was like, "Oh, this is familiar," or "I know this," or some shit like that, and it made me chuckle because this may be blasphemy, but the first thing I thought of when I heard Bodies was the old ECW, WCW invasion angle with WWE, WWF back in the day, because that was the entrance that the Alliance used as their entrance. Um, so it was pretty funny. Uh, but yeah, this match was just insane though, and it made me so happy for Kenny Omega because Kenny Omega is back, y'all, and the moonsault that he hit from whatever level in the arena onto the group of guys, the security, and I forget who was down below, but it's just great to see, man. And I just, when I saw that, I was like, yo, like, I'm so happy Kenny's back, and I'm just not even back. I'm just so happy he's healthy. You know what I mean? And that he's able to do shit like that. So again, Omega, the journey that he's been through, health wise, I'm sure, like, if we're happy for Omega, I can't even imagine how he feels. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the entrances, the Young Bucks, the founding fathers of AEW. I thought that was fucking clever as shit, and I cracked up. I can't even remember, and I didn't even pay attention to all the shit that Justin Roberts was saying, but yo, the the founding fathers and their ring gear, just tremendous, just fucking tremendous. And again, one of my thoughts that I had with Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, seeing their attire and just seeing the sports entertainment that they insert. Yo, like, you want to talk about a unlikely alliance? Can you imagine if Seth Rollins and Matthew and Nicholas Jackson formed a trio? You want to talk about the obnoxiousness that their attire would look like. Can you imagine if, like, they're going, like, the three of them were together and they were going through TSA and they had to get their bags checked for whatever reason, going through the outfits that those agents would see? It'd be like, yo, like, do y'all walk the streets? Like, what's happening? So I just think that would be fantastic. And again, I never see that happening ever, which is unfortunate. Um, I just seeing everything that they put into it and the outfits, man, it just reminded me of Seth for some reason. Just the going outside the box, and like being out of pocket with shit and not being afraid to just do crazy shit like that. But yeah, and I know the music during the match is probably a popular opinion and something that a lot of people like, but for me, it's just too much for me. Just too much. The repetitiveness of it. Like, if you were to play Bodies and that Excitement song one time each, that would have been fine. But continuing with the Bodies song on repeat for what, like 3 times was just too much for me. But I did like that the way they ended it was Claudio doing the big swing with Swerve and having Swerve hit the box, the speaker box, and that one little speaker box killing the audio for the whole arena. It was pretty funny. Um, the spot with Willow having her earlobe locked with a chain and a padlock essentially to the what was it, the ring post, right? It was just fucking insane and cringe. But you want to talk about cringe? The thing that got me the most was the fucking staple gun to the tongue of Swerve. And that motherfucker had that staple still in the center of his tongue after the match was over. And I couldn't watch it, guys. It got me. I cringed. I cringed and I looked away, man. I couldn't do it. I couldn't watch it. Like, all I could think of was if they do that wrong, like he's gonna lose all like his sense of taste, you know. They say when you get your tongue pierced, you have to be very careful because you have to get it in a certain spot or you're fucked, you know? So I can't even imagine. I don't know if they rigged that early on. I don't know. I'm good with not knowing because it got me, bro. It got me. I can't even imagine, dude. I can't fucking imagine. And after I watched it, I'm sitting there thinking about what the fuck I just watched, and like, how do you get that shit out? Like, how do you remove that staple? I just have. I don't want to say I have so many questions because I do and I don't. But like, bro, just unreal, man, unreal. Um, but yeah, man, props to Swerve because he just ridiculous. But officially, we had the good guys taking the victory here. And I'm happy about that because I'm so done with the Death Riders. And I hope that is a sign going forward into All In that this is the beginning of their destruction. And I will say before I move on from this match, I love that the women, Marina and Willow, finally got attacked by the guys, respectively. So it's good to see some of that shit. Because if you're going to have an Anarchy in the Arena type match, like, fucking Marina and Willow can take some moves from the guys. Like, relax. It's fine. To be honest with you guys, I did not see the Don Callis family versus the Paragon match because I was pressed for time because I wanted to get on here before I had to do some shit this evening and chat with you guys. So I can't really speak about that. But I can speak about the main event. And that is, I really quick though, Willigo regarding Swerve's attire. It it was looking kind of comical to me, but again, I dig that he does that shit, and whenever it's a big time pay per view, he dresses up as something. So I dig it, but it was kind of funny. But yeah. Moving on officially to the main event, we had Hangman Adam Page facing off against Will Ospreay for our men's Owen Hart Foundation tournament finale. And my goodness, guys, what a match this was. I love the video packages going into it. I love the explanation that Hangman gave in the package, you know, and the brief journey that we saw for the past 2 years for him. And I don't know, it just really set the tone. And again, it was a nice brief way to remind us of why each man wants to win the match and why one wanted to win the match and why one needed to win the match. And I think they did a great job and a beautiful job, really, of displaying that through the match itself. And yes, they did have maybe a couple too many near falls, but at this point, I've learned to expect that from an Ospreay match, and I almost don't even. I'm not gonna say I don't care, but I almost overlook it, and because I get so lost in his match, just the ability that this man has to make a simple reversal look like it's incredible is just mind blowing to me. And I know, like, a couple of people like Sean, for instance, like you've mentioned, and rightfully so, that Ospreay just continues to take loss after loss, and you get to a point where it's like, yo, like, when is he going to win the big one? But I'm really not concerned about that with him. I think if the majority of talent, absolutely. But I think he's one in the very small few who can lose these big matches and lose a handful of big matches and maybe more than a handful of big matches, But when he goes in and wins that big one, it's almost like a Bryan Danielson. That's all you're going to remember. That's all you're going to really focus on. Again, maybe not even rightfully so, but you're just going to remember he finally won the big one. He did it, and you're excited for him going forward. And I think the journey that he's been on, building his babyface character and really building, talk about connection, that connection with the fans, has almost been maybe more valuable than him winning the championship this early on, and being in position to win the championship, because he's one of those talents where, like I said again, you could put him in the main event, and even if you're expecting him not to win because he just can't seem to win the big one, you're like, fuck, man, it's 50-50. He damn near he damn well could win. So I'm not too concerned for him going forward. And I think, if, like I said, if nothing else, this just adds more to it. But Hangman, on the other hand, like I've said before, and I'm gonna try not to repeat myself too much, but Hangman needed to win this match. And like he said, he needed to win. His character needed to win. The journey that he's been on needs to culminate at All In. Besides all the obvious aesthetics, right? With it being in Texas, that, that cowboy type of area, and the love that they're going to have for him and the support. Not only that being built in, but Hangman himself, the AEW fan base loves Hangman, right? And the journey that he's been on, everyone has been there with him, or the majority of people have been there with him. And like I said before, like he's not necessarily, and he's not even not necessarily, he's not a homegrown talent, but he feels like it. And this chapter in his career being in AEW feels like he has damn near like started in AEW fresh. So I really feel confident and passionate that he needed to win, and he needs to be the one to dethrone Moxley at All In. Now, again, I'm going to hold off on my official predictions, but I've been saying it needs to be Hangman for months now. And again, like if I said, if it wasn't Ospreay, it needs to be Hangman. But I'm happy. I'm so happy that they went with Hangman, because especially seeing how that match played out and the story of the match, I think it was very well told. And I think they needed to really hang their hat on Hangman and really solidify him as our guy again. And I think they pretty much put the cherry on top with him extending his hand for the handshake with Ospreay at the end. And even though you could tell Ospreay was not pleased that he lost the match and possibly a little reluctant, he's a man of his word and he respects Hangman. And I hope that he is going to be there for Hangman when it comes to All In and really combat and fend off the Death Riders, which we know will want to interfere on behalf of Moxley. So incredible match, just fantastic and so well done. So props to them. And overall, again, a very good card. And as always, the length is just too much. And there's always going to be matches, a small amount of matches that most likely did not need to be on the card, but they always deliver. And 9 times out of 10, if not 9.5 times out of 10, AEW delivers great pay-per-views. And again, this one, I'm not gonna say it's one of their best, but it's definitely one of the better ones. So props to them and props to the talent involved. And yeah, so I'm gonna dive into your comments here really quick, and then I will be jumping off to get shit done and get ready for the basketball game tonight. But like I said, guys, I'm super happy and super thankful that you all pop in on my spontaneous streams here. um, but yeah. Oh, Sean, you said Anarchy in the Arena was awful for so many reasons. Oh. All right, Universally said, I'm sorry, but Monday is boring for me. Monday is blah, blah, blah. CEO. Oh, y'all are funny. Oh, yeah, I heard about that, baby. You said you didn't miss anything on the Double or Nothing pre-show except when Jeff Jarrett kept saying the Hurt Business and everyone tried to subtly correct him. Yeah, and then I think RJ City was like, he's new here or some shit like that. It's hilarious. Okay, Fernando coming in strong, saying this was the right decision. Mercedes versus Timeless Tony is going to be the biggest women's match in AEW history and in all of wrestling. Whew. I don't know about all of wrestling, my friend, but definitely to make a case for biggest in all of AEW history. We'll see though. We'll see. Fernando, you said Mexican girl. You mean Thunder Rosa, my friend. Thunder Rosa. Universally, you said Monet versus Britt versus Tony would be a huge match for All In. Yeah, bro, that shit ain't happening. Britt is off like in some tropical paradise right now, living her best life. And I don't even know if Tony Khan like is has any intention on bringing her back, which is sad. Yeah, Josh, what you said, anticipating Tony's half of their promo exchanges. You and me both, my friend. You and me both, man. Cannot fucking wait. It's just gonna be great. Malika, you said, what did Britt Baker do to piss off Tony? I don't understand why she isn't booked. I don't know if it was anything directly due. I think it was just a combination of shit that apparently was going on behind the scenes and shit that she apparently, I don't know, was getting involved in. I don't. And then there was like some shit between her and MJF and like MJF's girlfriend or some shit. Like maybe sometime in January. I don't know, bro. It's just one of those things, but it's a shame. And again, I'm not gonna sit here and act like Britt's the best wrestler or like a superstar or anything like that, but she carried that division for a while, dude. And I don't know. I just think that that should count for something. And maybe it did. Maybe there's more that we don't know of that was excused and overlooked, and maybe it just got to a point. So without knowing too much, I don't really want to sit here and speculate. But again, that's why it's good to have a plan B. And that girl is a dentist, so she's living her best life. Yeah, Joshua. Again, like kind of what I said. Britt was valuable when AEW women's division was weak, but now she's like not even top five, and that's a shame, dude. That's a shame. You guys are funny. All right, guys, but we will be wrapping it up here shortly. Like I said, I appreciate you guys for always popping in and chilling with me or watching our replay. I appreciate that. We have a busy next few weeks coming up too. We will see. We will see. And again, like on Raw with the whole Seth Rollins, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman, CM Punk of it all. It's gonna be very fun to see how that plays out and to see the relationship between Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. So we'll see. That would be fun to watch play out too. And I love that Paul Heyman is back to being confident about himself and being like, "Yo, I'm fucking Paul Heyman." You know what I mean? Like, I don't play me. Like I'm not just gonna sit here and bow down and acknowledge someone. Like I'm here and I know what I bring to the table. So I'm happy to start seeing glimpses of that as well. Yeah, people aren't a fan. Looks like you guys aren't a fan of the staple gun. Yeah, and Joshua, the scissors of Ricochet are a close second. What up, Billy? What up? What up, bro? And the Juggernaut show, you said, what did you enjoy more, Battleground or AEW? Well, or Double or Nothing? Again, man, it's not really fair to ask because I was at Battleground, so I'm obviously going to be biased. So being there, I enjoyed Battleground more, but Double or Nothing definitely had kick-ass matches as well. Probably better wrestling, and if we were to compare like the in-ring quality. But man, just the overall level of matches. I don't know. Like, again, I just Battleground because I was there. But if I were to really compare the two, Double or Nothing probably would get the edge. But I don't know because Battleground was really solid as well. So I don't know, man. That one's a hard one for me. Yeah, baby, you said I truly believe Osprey will win at All In 2026. Very possible, my friend. Very possible. And the Juggernaut show, I did. Thank you, man. I did. I did. I had a fantastic weekend. What up, Christopher Killer? What up, bro? Okay, he says 6.5 out of 10. That's probably fair rating, honestly. Yeah, well, Lico, it's time for Mox to drop the title. This thing is working out. Let's fucking hope so, bro. So, Universal, you said when is the next live? Saturday on Brass Ring Media or here? To be honest with you guys, it'll probably be Saturday. Because I am going back to work tomorrow and I'm gonna have a busy couple days catching up. And filtering through the past 2 days that I've had off, even though a lot of places were closed yesterday. I know I still got some stuff that trickled in. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it live this week, but definitely will be doing it Saturday morning over on Brass Ring Media at 10 a.m. ish Eastern. So definitely feel free to check me out over there. But Waliko, I appreciate that, bro. You said you are acknowledged, Ash. Keep the streams coming. I will, my friend. I will. I appreciate you, bro. But yeah, guys, again, thank you so much for popping in. I truly appreciate it. We will be wrapping up here because I have some shit I gotta do and get ready for tomorrow. But like I said, I really appreciate you guys for always popping in and chatting with me and listening and contributing in the chat. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, which I'm sure all of you have, unless you're watching in the background as a wallflower, which I appreciate that as well, or over on the Twitter, or not Twitter, over on the Twitch, feel free to subscribe and to like today's show. I appreciate that. It does spread the word. And the journey to 1,000 is upon us, my friends. We are getting closer and closer. And I think the small behind the scenes goal of hitting 1,000 by the end of this year is a possibility. So again, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Until next time, my friends, stay safe out there. As always, I appreciate you guys and enjoy some wrestling. Take care.